Locally by IT&E. KUAM News Headlines is presented by Calvo's Insurance, a legacy of trust, serving Micronesia since 1938. Matson and the Adahi Tano Program. Cars Plus, home of Guam's first and only lifetime limited powertrain warranty. McDonald's of Guam, I'm loving it. And King's Restaurants, always open, always local, and serving up favorites for over 40 years.
Ahead on primetime, within the past 24 hours, more COVID-related casualties are confirmed by the Joint Information Center. Plus, testing is underway at the Department of Corrections as 26 new COVID-19 cases are confirmed at the Mringilao compound. And trial continues for Mark Torrey Jr.
Half a day and good evening. I'm Adriana Cotero. The race for the White House is still too close to call as vote counting continues. The Trump campaign is preparing for legal challenges as the president's path to re-election narrows, with Joe Biden projected to win 2 more battleground states, Wisconsin and Michigan. CBS News correspondent Natalie Brand has the latest from Washington.
Joe Biden picked up 2 key battleground states Wednesday as CBS News projects him the winner of Michigan and the presumptive winner in Wisconsin. That puts the former vice president within striking distance of the 270 electoral votes needed to win the presidency.
I'm not here to declare that we've won, but I am here to report when the count is finished, we believe we will be the winners.
According to CBS News, Biden currently leads President Trump by 40 electoral votes, with North Carolina, Pennsylvania, and Georgia still considered toss-ups. Arizona and Nevada are leaning Democratic.
President Trump falsely claimed victory overnight and is now mounting legal challenges.
His campaign is demanding a recount in Wisconsin and suing to stop the vote count in Georgia, Pennsylvania, and Michigan. In Detroit, supporters of President Trump demanded entry to a ballot processing center to watch the vote count. In Philadelphia, demonstrators called for every vote to be counted. Election officials there say it could take days before the winner of the Keystone State is known.
We're going to win Pennsylvania, but they're trying to cheat us out of it because they know it's their only path to victory.
Election officials across the country say the vote counting process has gone smoothly, with few, if any, irregularities. It's estimated around 160 million Americans voted, on pace for highest turnout in more than a century.
Back to election news here at home. At this hour, Guam Election Commission is meeting in regards to the congressional runoff scheduled for Tuesday, November 17th, as well as recapping the 2020 general election. This morning on the link, KUAM spoke with GEC Executive Director Maria Pangilinan.
It looks like we're going to do it the same way. The 22 polling sites, the precinct officials, it looks like we're going to go island-wide.
If approved, this will be the GEC's first runoff election. In addition, the GEC must address and resolve all administrative complaints and voter challenges before certifying any of the results. If an election is less than 2%, a recount is required. The GEC received 1 administrative complaint and 3 voter challenges. Those can be addressed up until November 18th. Follow KUAM on all our platforms for the very latest from this evening's meeting. And during an interview on the link this morning, Guam Memorial Hospital Administrator Lillian Posadas confirmed the island recorded its 84th COVID-related fatality. The patient was an 84-year-old man with comorbidities. He passed away just after midnight last night. He was admitted to GMH on November 1st. And in the afternoon, the Joint Information Center confirmed the 85th COVID-related death. The patient was a 56-year-old man who was admitted to GMH on October 25th as a known COVID positive. He had underlying conditions and died at GMH at around 8:10 a.m. As for the latest numbers, Thursday's COVID census report from the Joint Information Center notes that 91 people have tested positive for coronavirus out of 728 samples gathered by the Public Health Lab. Of the new cases, 36 were identified through contact tracing and 1 was identified in quarantine. Currently, there are 1,592 active cases and there are over 3,200 recoveries. To date, there have been a total of 4,903 COVID-19 cases in Guam since mid-March. Today's COVID census at the Guam Memorial Hospital shows 77 COVID patients hospitalized. According to Hospital Administrator Lillian Posadas, 12 of those patients are under an ICU level of care, with 6 of the 12 requiring ventilator support. Of the 77 patients being treated for COVID, 12 are currently in recovery at the COVID isolation facility in Barrigada Heights. Prisons and jails are described as amplifiers of infectious diseases because social distancing is nearly impossible. And at the Department of Corrections in Manila, testing of all officers is underway as a result of close to 30 new positive COVID cases.
Department of Corrections spokesperson Major Antone Uggan confirms a total of 26 new positive cases in Manila. This includes 7 recruits, 18 officers, and 1 civilian. In addition to the positives, 42 officers have been placed on home quarantine as a result of contact tracing.
My COVID status for today is I basically got 68 officers that are, or 68 staff that are offline.
That's 68 officers out of almost 200 that work day in and day out manning the Mangilao compound and the Hagåtña detention facility.
We have reassigned personnel. I have even internal affairs now. Officers are out on the line, taking over transport. We had to suspend our incoming for the week again. We were scheduled to have it resume this past Monday. But because of the officers, all the officers that are out, we've had to suspend that operation again, just in order so we can use all the visitation staff to cover down in other areas.
Today, all officers at DOC and staff are being tested, while inmates will be tested on Friday. Next week, the entire Hagåtña population will be tested as well. DOC, in the meantime, is in discussions with the governor's office about the situation, but at this point is handling operational shortfalls internally.
It is very serious, but it's again, we are working it. We don't want to panic. It's something we believe we can handle. And again, we are working with public health and GMH, and we'll do what we have to get through this. We kind of anticipated some of this, but we hoped we never got to this point.
Right.
But with the virus in the community spreading, and it was a matter of time before it started having a impact on our operations.
Right.
But again, we are staying strong and continue to move forward.
Reporting for Guam's News Network, I'm Serena Salas, Matanani.
The Department of Youth Affairs is dealt another blow after 2 more officers test positive for COVID-19. With more is Tyler Matanani.
2 Department of Youth Affairs officers have tested positive for COVID. We caught up with DYA Deputy Director Cristina Uggan to clarify the number of DYA employees that have tested positive for the virus. Uggan previously told KUAM that a total of 9 employees had tested positive.
In total, we have 8 officers to date who have tested positive. To expound on those positive cases, 1 has been cleared and has returned to work, while the 7 remain in home isolation, including the one who was previously receiving care from the Guam Memorial Hospital. So he is now in home isolation.
The 2 officers were assigned to the isolation unit and are also the 2 remaining officers at the facility that had yet to be tested.
Once they felt symptoms, they had asked for us to go ahead with testing, and that's when we found out they were positive. I do believe that because they weren't experiencing any symptoms, they may not have been tested, and not that they refused, but they didn't see any point in it at that time. And the minute they started feeling symptoms, they notified us.
Uggan says that their youth service supervisors have done an amazing job at trying to schedule officers and have them remain to their assigned units unless they're needed elsewhere. However, officers that have been assigned to the isolation unit do not get transferred. She adds that deep disinfecting of the units will not be happening yet. However, they have further increased sanitary practices and are doing everything they can to keep everyone safe.
We have face shields, we have goggles, we have PPEs such as the gowns. So in terms of PPEs, we are pretty prepared in handling the positive clients.
So far, 10 DYA residents have tested positive and are in the assigned isolation unit. Out of the 10, 2 are experiencing mild symptoms, such as loss of taste and smell. All other clients that tested negative continue to be monitored. 2 DOC officers have been assigned to assist in operations along with 2 nurses to care for the positive residents. In total, 8 officers have tested positive for the virus, and there are 7 active cases, all on home isolation. Uggan says that as they continue to fight the presence of COVID in their facility and in our communities, they keep in mind the words of Surgeon General Vice Admiral Jerome Adams, the 4 Ws.
Wear your masks, wash your hands, watch your distance, and have the will to do it.
Reporting for Guam's News Network, I'm Tyler Matsinani.
Plans for a COVID-19 clinic to exclusively handle infected patients are still under discussion. Physicians Advisory Group Chairman Dr. Hao Wen says it's one of the topics for their weekly meeting on Thursday evening. The idea is to set up the clinic in a high-risk area so patients have easy access to daily care and treatment.
We have discussed it, and we still push forward for the question is where we're going to have it and who's going to run it. You know, it takes some manpower to run the clinic. And, you know, it's, remember this is all COVID-19, so the question is who's going to do it, that's the thing, and where.
Regarding concerns that a COVID-19 clinic would encourage positive patients to venture out into the community to visit to the clinic, Dr. Howe says they would need to arrange for safe transportation and travel directly back and forth. The Surgeon General of the United States says Guam can bring the COVID virus under control in a matter of weeks. He says the island just needs to come together. Nestor Lecanto reports. With a heavy heart, the Port Authority of Guam announced the passing of one of their own due to the coronavirus. Although he marked the 81st COVID-related fatality, he was more than just a number. Our Peter Santos reports.
As we get deeper and deeper into the pandemic, we see more and more COVID-related deaths. The number of COVID hospitalizations are approaching the triple digits, and the number of lives lost to the virus are right alongside it. Recently, the Port Authority of Guam suffered the loss of a fellow coworker, friend, and port brother, Henry St. Nicholas. General Manager of the port, Roy Respicio, shared some of his conversation with Henry's wife, Katrina.
The first thing I asked his wife if I could have the authority to authorization to say that this is a COVID-related death, and she's with tears holding back all the pain. She said, please express to everyone how real this coronavirus is. She's very sad that she couldn't be with her husband. She was very sad that he died alone. And these are some of the realities that these families are facing.
Henry St. Nicholas was just 49 years old when he lost his life to the virus. Having worked at the Port Authority for 7 years, he had come to know them as family. Just as family does, General Manager Respicio says they're going to do all they can to help Henry's family during this time.
We've identified Ms. Francine Rojo from HR to be the family's point of contact to help process all the administrative stuff. She's already reached out to retirement so that Katrina won't have to go to the retirement. We're going to try to do everything we can so that we could do this by email, or if we have to run the paperwork to his wife to sign, if we have to bring a notary to their house. We'll make all those extra efforts so that she could just focus on the great loss that she and her family are facing.
Respicio spoke of the immense pride Henry felt being Port Strong.
Henry was just an amazing individual, and even his wife said, despite what he was going through with COVID, he loved the port. She said he loved coming to work every day. He loved being called Port Strong. He loved being recognized by the community as a Port Strong family member.
In the midst of increased anxiety, stress, and depression, the addition of grief creates a load difficult to bear alone. Respicio says he's made some calls to provide an ear to speak to should his team or Henry's family need it.
I reached out to Teresa Ariola from the Guam Behavioral Health and Wellness, and I asked what kind of process can we set up for our employees and their families to receive counseling if needed. And she was very receptive, very supportive. As you know, the Joint Information Center always releases at the very end of their press release and anyone needing counseling to please reach out. But in our case, like we've done with contact tracing and other efforts, we don't want to be a burden on public health, and we don't want to be a burden on Guam Behavioral Health. So we're going to channel all of those counseling requests through our HR staff.
According to General Manager Respicio, the Port Authority intends to hold a formal ceremony to bid farewell to their brother as soon as the rest of Henry's family arrives. Reporting for Guam's News Network, I'm Peter Santos.
We were experiencing some technical difficulties earlier in the newscast, and now we bring you that story with the Surgeon General from the United States.
I am honored to bring... It was a very encouraging message from U.S. Surgeon General Dr. Jerome Adams. Speaking at a news conference organized by the governor's office, he urged strict community-wide compliance with public health directives.
Rejects that false comparison between you're either for health or you're for reopening. The fact is, the way that we get to reopening, as your governor has said time and again, is to suppress this virus. Please understand that the way that we avoid lockdowns or shorten lockdowns is by following these basic public health measures. And we can, in 2 to 6 weeks, get this virus under control. And I know that that sounds like I'm being Pollyanna-ish, but that is the biology of the disease. If we do the right things now, and we do it hardcore for 2 to 3 weeks, we'll start to see cases trend down.
Dr. Adams also predicts the U.S. will have a viable vaccine by the end of the year, and Guam will be included in the federal government's plan to vaccinate millions of high-risk Americans.
We have identified that the elderly and people with chronic medical conditions, followed by healthcare workers, should be the first in line to get the vaccine. And again, unfortunately, Guam has more than its share of the vulnerable population. So you will be getting the vaccine.
But for now, he says, the goal must be to drive down the disease transmission, and especially on Guam, asymptomatic infections among family members.
You've done this before, Guam, and you can do it again. And if you all get really serious and make some sacrifices now, we know that by Christmas, you can have the virus at low enough rates to feel more comfortable celebrating the holidays.
The governor says she will be putting out a call to action for strict adherence to the 3 W's: wear a mask, wash your hands, and watch your distance, plus a 4th W raised by the Surgeon General: willpower. For Guam's News Network, I'm Nestor Lecanto.
And stick around for more news here on Primetime. You're watching KUAM.
Get up-to-the-minute news, plus access to alerts, streaming radio, promotions, and more on your mobile device by downloading the KUAM News mobile app, available at the App Store now.
It makes myself and it makes my team members very proud to work for an organization that has been on island for many years with its focus on reliability, dependability, and commitment to the communities that they operate in.
Matson's a great corporate citizen to the community.
We all benefit from any sort of environmental commitment we make. One of the ways that we do that is with our Adahi Utano program. There's action behind it, and so action breeds commitment.
With the Kaimana Hila coming to Guam, this brings a new age and modernization to the island.
It's exciting for me because it's a brand new ship and we can carry more freight into the islands. It just shows growth for Guam and Micronesia.
Matson would be nothing without its customers, and we hope to continue to serve you for decades to come.
Are you looking to save? Here at Cars Plus, it's Black Friday every day. You'll love our entire Hyundai SUV lineup, like the 2020 Hyundai Tucson, ranked Best Compact SUV by J.D. Power in 2020. Drive home in your new Tucson starting as low as $158 per paycheck, equipped with Guam's only lifetime powertrain warranty. That's right, there's only one place to shop for your SUV this November. It's here at Cars Plus. Call us at 477-7807 to schedule your appointment today. Terms and conditions apply. See dealer for details.
Social distancing may be the new norm, but connection will always be our tradition. Through good times and tough times, we remain connected with you. Masks may be the new fashion, but protection will always be our style. you can always count on us to protect the things that matter the most. Sanitizing may be the new routine, but caring will always be our practice. We care about your loved ones and the things you value the most. And as we welcome our new normal, one thing remains certain: we will always be here for you. We're open and ready to serve you. Calvo's Insurance, a legacy of trust.
KUAM News, winner of the 2020 Regional Edward R. Murrow Award for Excellence in Social Media.
Day 4 of trial for Mark Torrey Jr. continued today with government witnesses testifying via video teleconference. In the government's second attempt to convict Torrey, he faces negligent homicide and aggravated assault charges for the 2015 fatal shooting of fellow police officer Albert Piolo. Chief Prosecutor Basil O'Malley called upon FBI laboratory agent Brett Mills from Quantico, Virginia, to testify. Agent Mills took an analysis of gunshot residue from Piolo's shirt and provided testimony that based on the shirt assessments, it was a no-contact firing of the pistol.
Using that firearm with like ammunition, the muzzle of the gun was 3 inches or less to the garment itself. And not quite contact, I could not reproduce. With contact, because it's a short barrel, you have a lot of gases and flame, and when I tried to reproduce it using contact, it would rip the shirt apart, and I didn't have that physical effect on the item 2 t-shirt.
However, during cross-examination, defense counsel Jay Arreola raises the argument that the medical examiner has concluded otherwise.
What I'm looking at is the garment versus the gun. And regardless of whether there was a struggle or not, when the gun went off, the barrel would have been, with the physical effects and with the chemical processing, a 1/2 inch to 3 inches.
If our medical examiner testifies that in his professional opinion, this is a contact entry wound, and your professional testimony is no, this gun was fired from 1/2 inch to 3 inches away, would you please explain that difference in opinion?
More FBI agents and officers testified this afternoon on the examinations performed on evidence. Trial is ongoing. An order by Chief Judge Francis Tydenko Gatewood continues former Zonia Mayor Jesse Bloss's sentencing hearing to next year. Bloss was arrested in September of last year for allowing drug trafficking through village mailboxes. He has since pled guilty to 1 count of extortion. According to court documents, oral arguments were heard on the government's motion to present testimony via video conference and the defense's cross motion to continue sentencing. The government argues the pandemic has created logistical issues making in-person testimony impossible. On the other hand, defense counsel Joseph Rosano raised concerns about allowing witnesses to testify electronically. In the order, the court states, quote, considering the difficult unforeseen circumstances created by the pandemic and other factors stated upon the record, the court grants the defendant's motion and continues sentencing to 8:30 a.m. on January 7th and 8th in 2021, unquote. With the sentencing continued, the court finds the government's motion to present testimony via video teleconference at the previously determined November sentencing date as moot and denies the motion. However, Chief Judge Tydenko Gatewood orders both parties to meet to resolve the issue and file a joint declaration under seal by November 16th. It's one of the last steps in preserving the Chamorro Land Trust program. A public hearing was held on a bill to clarify that the Chamorro Land Trust program is a land restoration program that is not necessarily exclusive to native Chamorros. The Justice Department had filed suit claiming that the program discriminated against a non-Chamorro man who was forced out when his Chamorro spouse leaseholder died. But attorney Mike Phillips successfully argued that it was not based on race. He helped negotiate an agreement that was signed earlier this year by the CLTC and the governor with the federal government.
The reason that in 1974, the bloodline definition was used was because, number one, it covered most people, and it mirrored what was already approved in Hawaii. It's also important to note that in the 60s, when we passed our own land restoration program, the feds, I believe, did theirs in 52, that Congress had the right, not the right, they had the authority, they maintained the authority to repeal our laws.
Phillips points out that because they didn't, it can then be interpreted as congressional approval. Guam's newly elected village mayors and vice mayors came together for a virtual roundtable to give their reactions on their victories. Tyler Matinatni has more.
Guam's general election may be over, but the hype is still in the air. The island's newly elected village leaders gave their post-election responses. The discourse was opened by Guam's longest-serving mayor, Mayor Paul McDonald of Agana Heights, who gave his reaction to this year's electoral race amidst a pandemic.
It was mostly boring. We just had to stay at home and concentrate on helping the people, and it became routine for the 8 months that we campaigned.
Though grateful for the votes, the village leaders expressed their concerns over the low voter turnout. Jigo Mayor-elect Alex Sanchez.
The turnout was not as great as I thought it was going to be, but it is what it is with this COVID-19. I mean, everybody's just trying to stay safe.
Though not quite able to hold traditional campaigning, Mayor-elect Tony Chargaloff said the tech age of social media allowed him to continue to reach out to residents in Inalahan.
Fortunately for our team, we have an individual by the name of Dominic Sablan who encouraged us to use Facebook, use Instagram, and use social media to its potential.
Tamaning Mayor Louise Rivera also chimed in, expressing her appreciation to Guam's voters.
I'm very grateful for all the wonderful members in the community, the businesses that have come out to support and make things happen. I really thank you and appreciate all of you.
Reporting for Guam's News Network, I'm Tyler Matsinani.
10 candidates ran for one of the 6 available seats on the Guam Education Board. Coming out on top was new member Dr. Mary Okada with nearly 18,000 votes in her favor. Dr. Okada is the president of the Guam Community College. She joins KUAM on the link this morning, expressing gratitude to the entire community for coming out to vote and sharing how she plans to help the board advance.
I look forward to working with all members of the Board of Education so that we can advance Guam Department of Education to where to really build on the work that they've done. One of the first things I know that many folks want to get through is the third-party fiduciary. And I think that would be a significant improvement or a significant win for the Guam Department of Education to see that through.
In second place were incumbent and current GEB chairwoman Maria Gutierrez with 12,478 votes. And also ranking in the top 5 was GEB Vice Chair Mark Mendiola.
I'm just fortunate enough to continue this journey. I'm glad that, folks understand the importance of what the mission is of the Department of Education. And so it's clearly we got a lot more to do.
Again, these are the unofficial results that await certification by the GEC. The elected candidates for the GEB have not been sworn in. A Corona Air Flight B737 crashed at the AB Wanpat Guam International Airport Wednesday. But don't be alarmed, though. It was just part of a full-scale emergency exercise conducted by the GIAA every 3 years as required by the Federal Aviation Administration. Airport and emergency personnel responded to a simulated crash landing of a B737 at the main runway. Because of the pandemic, the airport used 100 dummy dolls instead of real people to simulate victims. About a dozen federal and local agencies participated. Some participated by Zoom. Others who were on site made sure to follow public health safety protocols. We also understand that none of the dolls were injured in the exercise. Coming up, we have election results from the CNMI. Keep it here.
Your community calendar is brought to you by Taco Bell. Whether it's your first meal or your 4th meal, we've got you covered. Taco Bell, live Mas.
Get going with GTA Prepaid Unlimited. It's easy to load. Simply press *488#, send, Select 2 on your screen and then load. And with fast LTE data, you're able to quickly connect and share to your digital world. Plus, with reliable service, you're able to connect with loved ones whenever, wherever. GTA, we start with you.
Okay, so what are we thinking today?
Oh, I just need a trim.
Okay, well, luckily you are in great hands. Perfect.
The $1 stylus deal.
Is that it?
That's it.
Or you could get a real deal. McDonald's buy one, get one for $1 deal is here. Buy one of your faves and choose another for just an extra buck. Choose from the Big Mac, filet of fish, quarter pounder with cheese, and 10-piece chicken McNuggets, but only for a limited time.
Welcome back. Let's take a look now at CNMI's unofficial election results. Here's KSPN 2 News in Saipan.
Hafa-day Guam, here are the headlines for CNMI.
In the delegate race, Representative Khalili, running unopposed, got just over 11,000 votes. Over 6,800 of those were early votes. In the Saipan Senate race, Democrat Edith De Leon Guerrero with 5,133 votes. She leads Republican Sixto Iggy Somar, he's an incumbent, by 245 votes. House of Representatives, 6 seats open in Precinct 1. Edwin Probst, who recently resigned his position, was the top vote getter, followed by fellow Democrat Selena Babauta, independent candidate Joseph Flores, Lipan Guerrero, the incumbent there, Roy Ada, and Angel Demapon. Precinct 2, 2 seats open here. Tina Sablon currently in first with 586 votes, followed by John Paul Sablon, 528 votes. Both of those members would be re-elected if the results stand. Precinct 3, 6 seats open. Independent Ed Villagomez in first, BJ Attal second, Ivan Blanco third, Danita Yangitmai next, Vicente Camacho, Ralph Camacho, and Corina Magofna just 35 votes back. Precinct 4, 2 incumbents appear to be headed for re-election, Joel Camacho and Sheila Babauta. Precinct 5, 2 seats open. Layla Staffler running under the Democrat Party, over 1,300 votes. Richard Lizama, another Democrat, they take the top 2 seats. Board of Education, Macy Tenorio, over 7,000 votes, and Greg Borja, they are the top 2 vote getters there. Tinian Senate race, Carl Rosario King, neighbor, 711 votes. Democrat Jose Cruz with 503. Tinian Precinct 6, Patrick San Nicolas, tight race here, 625 votes. Frederick De La Cruz, 579 votes. Rhoda, Senate seat, just 1 seat. Paul Manglona with 721 votes. He's the incumbent over Dennis Mendiola with 653 votes. And Rhoda House, Donald Manglona, 870 votes over Barry Tovez, who garnered 500. November 17th will be the day of the official release of the results. 3 judges up for retention: Perry Enos, Kenneth Gavendo, Robert Naraha. Voters voted for them all to be retained. The official release of the results will be on November the 17th.
For more news, visit saipantv.com. For KSPN2, I'm Ashley McDowell.
And don't go away, we have your birthday shout-outs when we get back.
Guam's auto appearance specialist, Elegant Reflections, has been providing the automotive industry with professional detailing and car care products at its highest quality, from complete detailing, full interior detailing, exterior detailing, headlamp restoration, hand washing, seat and carpet shampoo, engine degreasing, undercarriage cleaning, paint sealant, fabric protection, paint oxidation removal, and so much more. Visit us at our new location. Call 646-5555 for an appointment. Elegant Reflections, Guam's auto appearance specialist, over 20 years of experience.
When I need to pay my Docomo Pacific bills or manage my account, all I do is visit mydocomopacific.com. It's easy to set up. I just visit the website and click on the link to set up my account. I filled out the registration page starting with my account number. I received a text message with a temporary username and password. After making initial changes on my security settings, I'm in! Now I can make payments or manage my Docomo Pacific account without needing to leave home. With Docomo Pacific, we're better together.
And before we close out the news tonight, our latest round of birthday shout-outs from the Cold Stone Creamery Birthday Club.
It is November 5th, so that means it is a happy birthday for 2 very special people of our Guamanian community and family. So we say, once more, happy birthday to Cairo Vili Ruth Berondo. Happy first birthday to my beautiful granddaughter from Grandpa and Grandma. Man, when you get love from Grandpa and Grandma, that is the best. So happy birthday, Cairo. We hope you and your family have a wonderful day. And Ethan J. Manabusan has a birthday today. So happy birthday, Ethan J. Your family is sending all of their love. And we here at KUAM and your friends at Cold Stone Creamery want to wish both Cairo and Ethan J. and their family the best possible birthday ever. We appreciate you both.
Remember, you can be part of the Cold Stone Creamery Birthday Club by registering online on KUAM.com. Please make sure to include with your photo your name and birthday. That's going to do it for us here on Prime Time. Thanks for watching. Have a good night and be safe.
Local Music Mashup is brought to you by Burger King. Be your way.
Hafa de Guam, I'm Peter Santos, and it's Thursday, so you know what?